Hey, hey everyone, appreciate you all being here at USA Crypto Group for this AMA session. Today we have a project called Solalgo with us. Solalgo is the world's first Web3 intelligent investment bank. With that, I'd like to welcome Barry and Derek from the team. Pleasure to have you guys here. If you guys can start out introducing yourself, talk about your team, and give us a bit of insight on your experience and background, please.
Sure. Do you want me to get this one off, Derek? Yeah?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So I'm sure in the video and not actually you're listening, you'll see that Derek and I are not your quintessential kind of crypto fraternity. We're a little bit older, so we've been around the block a few times, and as Derek would say, got the t-shirt and had the statue built. So we're not the regular, and with that we bring quite a lot of experience. Myself, I was at a FTSE 100 company back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. At that point, I got into online gaming. Funny enough, Derek and I were in a business together. We created one of the largest poker companies right at the start of the poker boom in 2002 to 2003. I went on to run and own a number of large sportsbook and casinos up until about 4 years ago. And how are we in crypto, I'm sure is the next question. Well, for me personally, a lot of our big VIPs around 2013, 2014, and these are mostly sports bettors, started depositing or asking to deposit in Bitcoin. And I hadn't heard of it at that point, got quite interested, and it's been a love affair ever since. I've been an investor, a hodler, a real hunger for blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, both trading, selling, and now owning a what we believe is a pretty revolutionary business in Solalgo. So, in a nutshell, that's me up to this point. Derek?
I'm Irish, and Seattle quite nicely reminded me from the home of Conor McGregor. And my background is financial. I started in the stock exchange when I was 20, right, writing tip sheets in the London Stock Exchange, associated to the London Stock Exchange, writing tip sheets, went from writing tip sheets to become a trader, went from becoming a trader to becoming an analyst and a trader, and then eventually to become a promoter. So basically my background is understanding how business works, how finance works, how money works. I've been doing it for 35 years now, and I would be considered senior, to say the least. Right, so that's who I am.
Appreciate the introduction there, Barry and Derek. Yeah, I mean, looking at your team, from the website with you guys' background, you guys have vast experience, and very good, very well put together team across the board. Now, Barry, I know that you are the CEO, the founder. Along with Derek as well. How did you assemble the team? How did you find all these people?
Well, you have to remember, Solalgo's been around for, well, the seed started about 2.5 years ago. This isn't a project that's just come out of the woodwork. We've been working on this for quite some time. And when you get to hear a little bit more about the project, you'll understand why it's taken us this long to get to this point of actually releasing the token. So over time, we've just picked up really good contacts, whether it be friends that have introduced us to people that have found out about the project and asked if they could join. It's an array of different introductions into a number of the people within our team. A couple of them are just hires that we had to go and headhunt, basically. But mostly these are people that are, totally vested in what Solalgo is doing and the direction it's taking. And very much, we're just a family now, which I think is very important when you're building something that is very unique.
I would say that each team member of Seattle also has a network of people that they use as advisors and as analysts and as assistants in making decisions and in understanding where the market is and how to deal with the market. For argument's sake, most of my team, none of my team appear on the website. But basically that's because they work as analysts. They work for me. right, directly. So when we get a new project, I work with them, and then we report to Barry and his team, and then they make decisions assisted by us and accompanied by us. So the team, while it looks reasonably short on the website, it's actually a big team. It's an awful lot of people.
Yeah, I think you guys have put together quite a great team here. I always look for a team. A team is the most crucial aspect of every project that I invest in. Looking at your team, not only you have the experience in the blockchain, but also in real life as well, in business, and relevant to what you guys are doing. So I think that's very crucial, very important. All right, now we will go. I know that, Derek, you are pretty much the genius behind that Algo 101 there, but we will go in depth on that. But for those that are listening right now that may have not had a chance to read the white paper, could you guys give us a rundown, like an overview of what you guys are about?
Yeah, sure. Let me give you if we can call it an elevator pitch, which I think we've done a couple of these AMAs now. And sorry, I hadn't said thank you very much for having us on. I've joined your group about a week ago, and it's a fantastic group. You always like to get a bit of a feel from the outside exactly what you're getting into, and it does feel like a really mature, very knowledgeable group, which is unfortunately not always the same when you do other AMAs. So thank you for having us on. I really appreciate it. So in very quick order, Solalgo is, let's break it down into 5 very simple steps. Okay, so we sell the SLGO Solalgo token to raise funds. So that's step number 1, and this is obviously what we're doing now. Step number 2, we take those funds and we utilize Derek's team and the algorithm, which Derek will obviously go into a lot more detail on. And the algorithm goes out and finds businesses that presents value to Solalgo. An analogy that has been said to us over what they think the algorithm is very similar to. Obviously, you've got a big American fraternity here in the group. Well, if anyone's seen the film Moneyball, well, the algorithm is very much like the Bill James philosophy around baseball. Solalgo finds value and finds the Chad Bradfords and the Scott Hatterbergs that others may not see. So that's what the algorithm actually does. So we get presented and we go out and buy these businesses 100%. Solalgo owns all of its businesses. We don't invest in bit part. We invest 100% and take full ownership of those businesses. Third part, or is this the fourth part? Actually, I'm not sure because I think I put 2 parts into one there. So the fourth part is it's where it starts to get for a token holder, it starts to get very interesting. Now, as these businesses develop and they start to make profits and dividends, those profits and dividends are then fed back into Solalgo. They're given to us in fiat. We take that fiat and we go into the open market on various exchanges, and we will buy Solalgo tokens with that cash, whether it's $100,000, $1 million, $10 million, whatever the dividends equate to be. We go and buy Solalgo tokens. Now, obviously, that puts a huge amount of buyer pressure, which is great for any token holder. The really nice thing is that we take all of those tokens and we burn them. Okay, so obviously we're now reducing the supply. So you've got really 2 very nice points of increase in value of the token, both in the buy pressure and the reduction in the supply. Now, we've set out in step 5 what we call our end game. Now, the end game is quite straightforward, and this is a brilliant idea that Derek came up with, because when we were looking at this 2.5 years ago, we said, okay, great. When we get to the 70% burn, which is what we're going to burn, a maximum of 70%, and I suppose we're looking around, we're projecting somewhere between 3.5 years for that 70% burn to take place, maybe 4, maybe less. All, again, market conditions will dictate. But once we reach that 70%, where does Solalgo go? Well, where Solalgo goes is our end game, and this is, we will take a look at the market and say, right, we've got 300 million. The initial supply is a billion. There's 300 million tokens left now in supply. So we give our token holders an option. 1, we will give you the current face value of the tokens in fiat, USDT, whatever you want. We'll pay you. Or second, secondly, where we think most of our token holders and all of our seed and private investors have been very excited about, is that the conglomerate of businesses we've put together over this 3-4 year period, we will float on a major exchange, either London or New York, and we will transfer all of those tokens into preferential shares in the flotation of that conglomerate, which could be worth many millions of dollars at the end of the time if we get through the burn cycle at the price prediction that we expect. So that in a pretty much is the kind of A to Z of, or A to Z, as we say in England, of Solalgo, basically. So hopefully is that enough detail for you? I know it's quite a long elevator pitch, but hopefully that gives you enough detail.
That's a perfect elevator pitch there. But I do have a follow-up questions. Now, you mentioned that in regards to acquisition, you look for companies to acquire. Now, is that your main underlying mission of the project there, or do you actually fund the startup as well?
I'll take this one, Barry, if you don't mind. Yeah. Right. I think to start with, Seattle, let's just go back to the genesis of Solalgo, just so that we get clear on it, right? I've always been involved in financial markets, but I kind of dismissed the crypto market when we first looked at it back in 2010 as being, a little bit here today, gone tomorrow. Obviously, I was wrong. By the time lockdown came, I had a lot of time. So I looked at crypto very carefully, and I began to be absolutely enthralled with the concept and the potential. And with that in mind, I thought to myself, well, one of the problems I can see with crypto is it's not stable enough. I don't mean any particular coin. I mean generally the market. And why is it not stable? So I began to look at individual companies, and I came to the conclusion that there wasn't enough companies with tangible assets that were real world value. A lot of it was imaginative. A lot of it was very clever. But at the end of the day, how much of it could be sustained without tangible assets? So I thought to myself, let's put together something that requires crypto to have tangible assets. And this is where the idea of the bank came up with. Barry came up with the idea. I worked on it for a while, gave it to Barry. Barry came back to me, and between the jigs and the reels, we decided that this was the way to go. So the next question was, how do we acquire tangible assets at a reasonably speedy rate for a reasonably good purchase price that will, over time, generate the necessary profits in order to carry out the burn exercise that Barry's talking about and the reduction of the issue? This was where we came in with the development of ALGO S101, right? And that's an algorithm that I was staggered at its efficiency. Basically, what it comes down to, the way I described it to Barry to begin with before he took it and massaged it into something much bigger than I'd envisaged, was I described it as a search and rank tool. Very similar to Google, except a deeper search and rank, given specific parameters to go into the web, look at every element of any given business in any given sector, and return a degree of information that could be decimated into something that would allow us to make a decision. So that was my initial brief to Barry. I think this is version 5, is it, Barry? Version 5 of ALG 101, yeah.
It is now, yeah.
Yeah, we're now at the point where my analytical team, which is composed of really, really good people, based in accountancy, based in legal, based in logistics, based in distribution, based in marketing, every element, right, that would be used to conduct any profitable business, we use as the parameters that we decide how we're going to make a purchase or an acquisition. It doesn't always have to be an existing company. Sometimes it's just a project. Sometimes it's just an idea, right? We make those decisions based on the analytical information that's received from ALG S101 and from a vast amount of experience of being able to analyze things. The difference between when I did it in the stock market, I was an analyst in the stock market for 30 years. The difference is the speed of the information that can be gained and then broken down and then brought to us in a compact manner. And not only does it do that, it performs a 3-year projected business plan, right, based on budgets, based on human resources necessary in order to succeed, and based on market factors and indicators. So everything about it is technical. That's my end of the business. Barry's end of the business is obviously the crypto side. My end of the business is identifying businesses, acquiring them at the best value, and then developing them into profit-making enterprises.
Wow, I mean, and I love to go more in depth on that ALGOS 101, which I believe that you guys have proprietary design on that. From what I've listened so far, that's pretty impressive. So to recap, you guys are not only looking for existing project to acquire, but like you mentioned, you guys also accept idea and early startup as well, correct?
I'll give you an example of that, Seattle. A very good friend of mine who one would consider one of the premier experts in extractive industries on the stock market rang me about a year ago. And he said to me, how's Solalgo going? We were chatting away and he said to me, have you thought about getting into mining? And I said, well, no, not really. And he says, why don't you look at the Republic of Congo? I said, why? And he says, there are mining licenses available there that can be picked up at a relative value. You can agency those licenses, right? And I said, well, what are we mining? And he said, cobalt. I said, well, what does cobalt do? And he says, cobalt is in every battery in the world. You cannot exercise a battery without the use of cobalt. The Congo is the biggest producer of cobalt, right? And the availability of licensing alongside major extraction firms, major distributors, right, is what we began to look at. So that was a project that wasn't a company. That was a project that was an idea from Andrew, my friend Andrew, right? And in taking Andrew's advice and taking his expertise and then distributing them among other people to ask questions, we've ended up, right, at the bottom end of a negotiation to purchase a very, very significant mining license in the Republic of the Congo. So that's an example.
Perfect. Now, how do these companies get in touch with you guys, or what are the protocols from your end to get in touch with these companies? And what would be the scenarios for these companies to reach out to you for help?
Well, we ran a test when we were developing ALGO S101, and we did a private invitation online asking people to submit projects or companies that they wanted us to look at. We looked at 900 and something, Barry.
72 we looked at.
972 we put through,
yeah.
we put through the algorithm. And of that, we chose 3, right? One was an existing marijuana distribution company and lobbying company, right? 2, well, that's for medical and recreational marijuana. Recreational only in developed situations where it's legal. Then we also acquired a holistic pet product distribution company, which again is if we looked at the market, it's a huge market and it's a really profitable market. It's a good market. And we're developing it as purchase distribution, right? Not production. Production takes place elsewhere. We just buy to produce product, but it's exclusive to us and it's licensed to us. And finally, the third one we bought was an online payment company called ModusPay, right? And we were using that initially to use across the companies that we intend to own as a conglomerate. We intend to own 30 companies. We intended to use ModusPay as the payment provider for those companies, the solution for those companies. But in the end, we then got offered a money license, a transfer money license from Canada, which was reasonably cheap. And these things are not cheap, but it was reasonably cheap, right? So we entered into negotiations for that. And I would be confident in saying that we will be in a position to launch ModusPay full-blown with a money license sometime around August, September this year. So they're the 3 that we actually acquired. Then we acquired another 3 projects. One was in the green exchange, it's called, and it's in the solar panel industry, right? The second one was the one I've just mentioned to you, the Republic of Congo, and that is in the cobalt extractive mining agency industry. And the last one is pretty much Barry's remit. It's in gaming, right? And it's the management of gaming and the I suppose you could say, the distribution of gaming through secondary agencies. It's very clever, right? And it's very profitable. So that's where we are at the moment. All of them been funded from resources from our seed investors and ourselves. This has not been funded from the sale of Solalgo. So we're in a position now whereby we can say to everybody that's trying to get involved in Solalgo, we should be in a position pretty much certainly to start exercising our burn policy towards the end of this year.
Yeah, thanks, Derek, for those breakdown there. So to date, you guys had acquired or secured three different projects. You mentioned the Green Exchange, the Cobalt, which is the primary mining licensing and distribution agency, and the gaming, right? Now, out of the 972 projects that you guys had your algorithm system looked at, were these projects came to you, or were these projects you just randomly selected to look at? How did that come about? Can you speak further?
We were approached with them. We were approached with every one of them. Some of them were ridiculous, and I mean ridiculous, right? And some of them were too expensive. Some of them were good enough for us to run through the algorithm. You kind of, one guy approached us from Brussels, and he wanted to repurpose silicone from breast implants. And we just didn't take it seriously, to be honest with you. So you move on for that and you look at something else. And the next guy approaches us and he's got the marijuana company, and now we're serious because we're looking at this industry very seriously. The idea is in the first instance, when we're approached, it doesn't automatically go to the algorithm. If it's ridiculous, we just say thanks, but no thanks, right? But if it's real, right? If it's a company, we break down the company, its previous history, and then the sector history. If it's a project, we break down the sector history of the project. If it's innovative, we look at the people available in order to bring it to a conclusion. We're pretty well connected worldwide with people who are always punting projects. Projects are businesses. Businesses for sale, as you can imagine, are a dime a dozen on the internet, right? They're a dime a dozen in any agency. We have access to all of this, right? And we look and we cherry pick what we believe has an 85% chance, which is what our algorithms, the parameters our algorithm is set at, an 85% chance of being profitable in the shortest period of time at the cheapest possible price.
So is it safe to say that most of the projects that come to you guys are going through hardships, correct? And that they pretty much need more funding in order to continue their operations. And this is when you guys come in and use your algo.
Yeah.
And you guys will dissect, make assessment, and analyze the project, whether you guys can actually acquire it and turn it around and make a profit, correct? Pretty much that's how.
It's not always hardships, yeah, right? A lot of the time, right, particularly with projects that aren't in formal structure, a lot of the time it's just people have an idea and they're unable to take the idea to the next step. When it is a formal structure, generally speaking, they've undervalued the company from the point of view of providing the right finance and the right income stream in order for it to continue on a stage-by-stage basis. In other words, a lack of experience in a lot of instances. In actual fact, every instance has been a lack of experience or a lack of wherewithal as to how to get to the next stage. We provide that, plus provide the funding. So when we buy it outright. We're not interested in taking on co-owners. We may take on people who've been involved in the past, but not as co-owners. The only people that own these businesses, these companies, these projects is Solalgo.
Could you expand further on the operation side, Derek? So let's say you take over a project A, right? And like you mentioned, you want to take over 100% and operate it within your control. Do you have enough? Give us some insights on how's the operation aspect go? Like, how do you continue to get new people to manage the new company? If you guys continue to acquire these companies, how does that look like?
Actually, that's you put your finger on the thing that slows us down the most. The algorithm gets us the information really quickly. We can make decisions based on that information. But what it always comes down to, as everybody who's ever been in business is aware, it comes down to people, right? Finding the right people is actually correct. That's what slows us down the most. We have a very, very good network. Barry has a particularly excellent network in entrepreneurship, right? He's been working with entrepreneurs for the last 20 years, right? And they're really good people. Now, they obviously have to be correct for the particular sector or the particular industry we're in, but that can be done. And then it's a question of us making the right decision on the people. But within the Solalgo setup, right, if you've got a company, we have, say for argument's sake, the marijuana, the CEO of that has to report to us in the first year every month. Now, it's a strict reporting. It's very serious management account reporting. Now, we do a system in doing it, right? But it has to be done every month. That's the first year. In the second year, if he's met the criteria the first year, he has to report to us every quarter. In the final year, which is a 3-year projection on everything anyway, he has to report to us annually. But at any stage, we're accessible with the full management team and the availability of finance. If they run into trouble, want to know why, how, and where. But if we feel that it's outside their control, then we're in the position to be able to provide additional management at no cost to the company and additional finance. And bear in mind, the finance is crypto related. They don't have the pressures that come with borrowing money from financial institutions or banks. They only have to deal with us. And as we wholly own the company, we're obviously much more of a bent to make this work. But if we've done the preparation right in the initial acquisition, then this doesn't happen. And this is why we've spent so much time on the algorithm and so much time on how to finance and budget it and project it over a 3-year period.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, apparently the system that you invented, which is the Algo SO101, is proprietary. There's proprietary design behind it, but like you mentioned, it gives you a 3-year projections. I mean, that's pretty crazy stuff there that we're talking about. Now, at what point, Derek, does the human element come into it to do further assessment on the company?
Majorly. At no stage is there not a human element in it. When the algorithm is doing its work, it's very quick, Seattle. It's really, really quick. The questions that we have set as the parameters can return us information in less than an hour that when I was an analyst could have taken a month. And I mean that. It's extraordinary the amount of information we can extract using this algorithm. Once that information comes through, right, it's dissected into various different areas of expertise. These experts are given the information that the algorithm has dissected. They come back with a report. Then we have a meeting. Then we say, okay, this has a potential. Let's now do the really deep search on this. Let's do the deep search that's going to produce a 3-year projection based on internal, external budgets, availability of finance, market movements over the 3 years, all of the technical indicators that are necessary in order to ensure this can be as safe as possible an investment for Solalgo. So the management team, my management team, is on this from the get-go. We then go to Barry and say, Barry, we're going to buy this. We're going to need X amount of euro, pounds, or dollars to do it, right? And here's why we're buying, right? Barry's team look at it and tell us whether this is going to be suitable to the type of marketing people on crypto exchange want. In the event that they don't want it, I'll argue very hard that the only reason we ever bring it to Barry is we know that they want it, right? Because it's a good deal. So it's not done at on a wing and a prayer. This is done with a huge amount of work, right? Every project, we look at it through both ends of a telescope. Every project. And when we make the decision, right, we argue like mad, we negotiate like mad. If somebody wants $100,000 for something, I'll offer them 20, right? I don't see any way. If they want $10 million for something, I'll offer them $1 million. Right? And that's just the way we have to work this because we want to succeed. And by owning the company, it's an entirety, we're responsible for it. We're also responsible to the coin holders who've given us the money to buy this, make profits, burn the coin in the market, reduce the issue, and then when the time is right, when it's 70% burnt, take it to a market. I mean, a stock market, sorry.
I mean, that is the ultimate goal, right? 3.5 years, like you mentioned, around there, 70% token would be burned, which to those that are listening, pretty much burning the total supplies. What that turn to is that it will reduce the supply, which raise up the demand, and the price will go a lot higher. Now, their plan is to also take it to go public with the company in 3.5 years. So, I mean, if it gets to that point, if you invest now, that's a no-brainer, right? You become pretty much almost, you're sitting pretty well financially there 3.5 years from now. Now, I do have another questions for you, follow-up questions for you in regards to acquiring or funding new concept. Where will be the money coming from for you to continue to acquire or funding new ideas or projects? Are they taxing tokenomics, or where would this revenue coming in from?
So we were lucky enough to have raised quite a substantial amount of seed investment and private sale investment in the last, I think it's been open for 18 months now. And also Derek and myself, we were quite comfortable financially, and we've also put a substantial amount of money into this once we figured out the algorithm and the process was working really, really nicely. Because I know we've had this question before on AMAs where people go, "Oh, you're just going to basically dump loads of tokens into the market." No, that's not going to be the case. And it makes no sense for us to do that. And our tokenomics is very clear that the acquisition fund is only a very small part of our tokenomics. If you have a look on our white paper. If you just try and understand the project, you'll see why this is a virtual impossibility of just dumping tokens, because obviously one, it will kill the price. But the idea is this: we start very steadily, and we've backlogged quite a lot of, should we say, positive news to be able to filter out once we've gone live after the pre-sale. Now, once the pre-sale's finished, we can start putting out some quite, I would say, bullish information about Solalgo, where it's going, the information about the companies, what it's doing, and how we're performing. Now, like any good publicly listed stock, any good news is always a nice indicator for a price to start to move in the positive direction. And we all like green candles. Well, I do anyway. So we've got that backed up. Now, if you understand that as the price starts to go up and we sell more tokens, obviously we don't have to dump them because there's a liquidity pool of tokens that will be sold. Okay. Now, as we buy more businesses and as those businesses start to come to fruition and start making profits, then we burn more tokens. The price goes up, more tokens get sold. We get more cash in, we buy more businesses, and it's like a snowball effect. And the nice thing about anyone getting involved in the pre-sale is that you're not basically dealing with just one little snowball. The snowball's already, I would say, a third of the way down the mountain. It's got momentum, and it's a pretty sizable snowball. And you're getting in at a very good time while the momentum's just starting to pick up. So there's just no point in considering a situation where we'll be able to dump tokens, because that's just never been in the plan. That we can't do that, and we've got enough funding not needing to do that anyway.
We've also got very clear budgets on how to do this. Yeah, the clear budgets allow us to make decisions based on availability of finance, availability of funding. So, for argument's sake, if we got 10 projects in Thursday week, and one of them was 5 million and one of them was 50,000, and we had 100,000 available finance that week, that we had to make a decision. Well, we're not buying the 5 million, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't try to buy the 5 million. If it's good enough, we'll figure out a way to do it. But the reality is that, as Barry says, businesses are bought. All I wanted Barry to answer me, as Barry's the crypto guy, right? All I wanted him to say was, look, I want to go to traditional route. I want to buy tangible assets that can be turned into profit-making entities that can, in some way, enhance the value of the enterprise being Solalgo. Traditional values mean I'm very aware of what we can buy in 6 months' time, just from our own funds. Forget crypto. I know what we can buy in 6 months' time. By bringing in the investment bank, the digital investment bank, it changes the whole scenario if it succeeds. Because instead of being able to buy 4 or 5 businesses, we can buy 10 or 15 businesses. And we have the team, we have the wherewithal, and we have the algorithm. And to me, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because any business that's not burdened by debt has a significantly, an exponential chance of succeeding, so much more than one that is.
Thanks for that there, Barry and Derek. Yeah, that's what I was alluding to is, but like you mentioned, I think once the project is launched and you guys will assess the company and put out the operation aspect of the numbers, etc. That's why I was alluding to it. Were you guys giving an investor like a set percent of, hey, okay, we acquire this business A, and this is how much profit? Is it like a set percent that you will put into a little reserve for future acquisitions or funding of new projects? So that's why I was alluding to whether you guys have that number, set aside, or have you guys thought of that number yet?
We've got 6 projects so far. Our initial target within the 3 years is 30 projects, and that would constitute a proper conglomerate, particularly if there was interrelations between the projects whereby they could work each other and profit each other. And as you can see, Modus Pay, as an example, the online payment solution, that can work across all businesses, thereby profiting in itself by us introducing 30 businesses to it without it having to market or look for business. Right? It will do that as well. It can market and look for business as well, but it's going to be guaranteed 30 businesses within 3 years. The reality is that every business is a full business plan, a full budgetary plan over 3 years, right, is calculated and expressed and will be published. It will be published on each website of each business. Each business will have its own independent website, which can incite the fact Solalgo owns all of these businesses in their entirety. It funds all of these businesses in their entirety. There is no third party. It's just Solalgo. So if the iDIB works, right, and I think it will work because, as I said, it can't go anywhere except up. It's a northern projection. And when that works, it allows us to go into the market and be much more aggressive in our purchasing, much more aggressive in our negotiation, and much more aggressive in our development, right, and the generation of profits.
Perfect. Now, you said that you guys had a seed round. How much did you guys raise on a seed round?
We always get that question, Barry.
We do. In dollars, it was just a tad shy of 4 million.
Wow.
Hello?
So you guys did pretty well.
Well, and Derek.
That includes us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the seed capital and us.
Yeah, we also, Derek and I put in the bones of what's that in dollars? 750 we've put in of our own money. So we are, should we say, fully vested in Solalgo, getting to that point of being made public. That's where we're going.
Wow. So you guys put in 750 and you guys together around 4 million. I mean, that's
3.89 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. That's quite a number, and that shows everyone here that you guys are committed to the project and you guys really believe in this, algorithm system that you guys created here. This is some serious number here.
We're very aware of that, and we're also aware that we're custodians of a lot of that money. But it should be said, and I don't think Barry said it, there isn't one single person in the seed investors that we don't know, we don't trust, who doesn't trust us, right? Every piece of this has been put together like a properly constructed jigsaw. Right? This is being built based on fundamentals. This has been built on building blocks, right? And this has been built properly. We're not interested in the volatility or the variations of any market, never mind the crypto market or the banking market or the stock exchanges. What we're interested in is building something substantial. We know it's going to take time. We know that we can start pretty much on the current project now, no, well, not now, but shortly, right? Because of the projects that we've already bought and paid for, right? And covered the early development costs of. We know that we can push this further. And as Barry said, if we were to release the news today, I think everybody'd be happy. But, advice is to hold off, don't get ahead of ourselves, make sure everything's right, make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. This is a proper way of approaching any market, never mind the crypto market. This is something I learned over 35 years. If you're going to build something, build it properly on solid foundations and then build it as it goes. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't be silly. Don't break promises. If you're going to make a promise, keep it.
Things, Seattle, that I think we've not mentioned too much, that maybe we should explain to your group and yourself, is we were actually ready to launch around June or July time, and anyone who's not been living under a rock for the last 8 months will know that a lot of shit has hit the fan in not only in the world but also in the cryptocurrency space. And one thing I'm really glad, it's obviously not glad it's happened, because a lot of people lost a lot of money with a few projects like FTX and SBF. Sorry for swearing. But what it showed us is what we've actually got with Solalgo is something very, very unique. An actual token that's backed by real life businesses with great fundamentals that you can actually go touch and feel, interact with, buy from, etc., etc. When we first, again, a bit of a story that I like telling, but when I first looked around to speak to the developers about building websites and dApps and stuff for Solalgo, I said, well, I'll go out into the market and try and plagiarize another site that does something similar, because there must be something else out there. I couldn't find anything, and still to this day there is nothing like Solalgo in the crypto market. It's a bit of a big statement saying the world's first intelligent digital investment bank, but actually it's true. It is actually true. We have created something that is very, very unique. And like I said, the whole thing about FTX and stuff, when you've got, things you can actually see, feel and touch, gives it that tangible aspect, I think's, quite refreshing in this particular market, because we're not a meme coin. We're not, a dog smoking a joint or whatever. We're a real life business with tangible assets.
What I'd also say that just sorry for coming across you again. I'd also say that, look, I know that we are not your typical entrepreneur, 25-year-old entrepreneur in crypto, right? I also know, right, from the last 3.5, 4 years of being very, very involved in how crypto works, how blockchain technology works, that it's the future. Nobody might want to admit it in the establishment side, but it is the future. It's the way our financial transactions are going to be transacted over time, right? And there may be alternatives that come up in the future, but at the moment, this is such an imaginative, such a clever concept. And by marrying it with what I do, right? I know Barry is more crypto, but what I do, the traditional way of doing business, right? The old traditional accounting, the Price Waterhouse, the proper banking methods, by combining it with that, right? I think we're getting a leap on the rest of the market. I've no doubt whatsoever, as soon as we become any sort of a profile in the market, will be replicated. I don't mind that, because we're better than anybody else. But leaving that aside, right, it is very innovative. Nobody can take credit for that. It's a marriage of minds, and not just mine and Barry. It's talking to people who are essentially quite brilliant in the crypto market, in the business market, in the exchange markets, in the financial markets, in the banking markets. We know these people because we've been around a long time. We've met them. We know who works well and who doesn't. Right? We know who to rely on and who to trust. So I go back to my point about the seed investors. We know them. We know they're in for the long haul. We know they're good guys. We know they're not going to mess us about. Right? We know that it's their money and we've got to make them a profit. Happy.
And they've vested for 2 years as well, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, with that, you're right, Derek. You're right. I think your project, what you guys have here, is very innovative. You know, lately we've been bringing on a lot of very unique projects, just like yourself, and I'm thankful for that. I think the space here, in regards to what you mentioned about your frat boys, people running the project, I think we're over with those type of projects. You know, I think the space the space needs projects like you guys, more mature, more experience. Like you say, you have, you know, you have a lot of extensive background in not only real life, but in crypto as well. Now, Derek, I looked at your profile, and I mean, you have a master's degree in economics, and you have a lot of vast experience behind you in traditional world. So I think you guys have put together a very amazing team. And I think that's what's needed in the space. I think it needs to bring project like you guys is what's going to help onboard people into the crypto space, right? Not the things that we have seen lately in the BSC space, just a bunch of garbage. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here, you know, speaking with you guys. You know, apparently you guys have accomplished a lot in the traditional world. So now you guys you saw the possibility in the crypto space, and you want to bring traditional experience to the crypto. Rightfully so. I think this is where we're heading. And I think you guys are at the right place right now.
I think I'll take one point with you, right? Bad people and bad markets do not demean the concept, right? The concept of crypto is really quite beautiful. It's elegant. It's really elegant, right? So the people who have been abusing it are the people who have knowingly gone into it to defraud it. Let that not demean it. Right? Because when the stock market started, the first 7 trades that it did failed because people were trying to rob it blind. But that doesn't mean that the stock market didn't succeed. We know it succeeded. And crypto is the future. Take that from somebody who's been around the block and dismissed, you know, an investment in Microsoft in the 80s. Dismissed it. Never. You're never going to put a computer on everybody's desk. That's not going to happen. That was me. That's not me now. I'm the convert that's saying crypto is the future. How it's the future remains to be seen. But blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, they're the future. And if you don't believe me, wake up. Because you're going to wake up. And that I'm right.
100%. And everyone here right now listening, we are so early right now. We were so early. You know, I mean, we barely scratched not even like 3 or 4% of the world on the blockchain yet. So the adoption hasn't even started happening yet. Very early on. So
it's fabulous. I can't believe that we're getting this opportunity, you know, and I can't believe the value, right, that's there for everybody, not just in Solalgo, but in the right projects. But start looking at them. Start doing your job when you go to invest money. Don't just take it what somebody says. Talk is cheap. Doing is a lot different.
Got to walk the talk. All right, since we're on the seed round, could we speak on if there's any cliff on the seed for the seed investors? Could you guys speak on that a bit?
2-year vested on the seed, and then it's a 10 month, 10% linear after that.
You said 10 months cliff there, Barry? Is that what you said?
2-year vesting, and then after the 2 years, it's then there's 10 months with 10% release each month, so they can get it out on the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th month.
Oh wow! Okay, so 2 years they can't even touch the token for 2 years.
To be honest, like Derek said, we know all of the guys. I would be very surprised, and they're all quite wealthy people, like a circle of friends and business acquaintances. These guys are not going anywhere. They're in for the long haul. They won't sell. You could vest them for 10 years. It wouldn't make no difference, because that they know we're going to be sending the business onto a stock exchange to make it public. So they're not going anywhere.
Okay, perfect. All right. Now on the PinkSale, what are you looking to raise the PinkSale?
We're actually going to Cookie Sale. We've known the guys at Cookie, previously Cody. We've known them for quite some time. Really good guys. Worked with them a little bit. It's a 100 BNB soft cap, 200 BNB hard cap. We're not really doing it to raise any money per se. It was just giving us an opportunity to market the project correctly and to be able to get it into as many wallet holders as we possibly could.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys will not have a problem raising that 200 BNB hard cap. I think that will go out very quickly. And then we also know the guys over in Cookie Sales. We're actually in partnership with them as well. Very good guy there. And I think 200 BNB, I think that's very, very reasonable.
We've funny enough, we've had a load of people come to us. We've had to reopen our private sale because the response we've been getting just from doing some AMAs with some, should we say, larger investors coming and saying, can we deposit X amount of BNB with you? Can we get a bit of a discount? Now, we can't give them too much because obviously we're past that round, but the response has been really good. We've been overwhelmed by it, actually. It's been fantastic.
Trey made the point to us from Cookie that we should take this very, very carefully, not exploit the idea of raising money from a launch, right? And I agree with him. One, we don't need it. Right? We don't need the money at the moment. Right? We will need money in the future, but right now we don't need it. Okay? And two, proof of work or proof of concept. In my world, it's called proof of concept. In your world, it's called proof. It's there for it to be seen. Right. So once we launch and once we meet the soft and hard cap, we'll be able to release lots of information pretty much every week on Solalgo, right, on what it's doing and how it's doing. Some of it will be quite analytical, complex shit, but most of it will be straightforward, easy to get to, easy to understand, easy to research. A lot of the account work is very elongated and very complicated, but it is what it is, and it needs to be released. I should say that all of the companies that we own will be registered in their place of residence, whether that's the US, whether it's the UK, whether it's Europe, or wherever it's most convenient from that point of view, from the point of view of taxation and the point of view of operation. So they will all be registered companies. They will all be under restrictions to report. They will all report on time. We've employed a corporate governance and legal individual to operate this side of the business for us to ensure that all businesses meet their requirements on a due diligence basis.
Okay, so excuse me. Just to touch on what you just said there. So you guys are a legal registered security entity. Is that what you just said there?
Careful now. Don't like that word security a lot, right? We've got to be very careful, right? One of the biggest problems you've got, I'm sure you're familiar with this, but I'll say it anyway, right? One of the biggest problems we've got is worldwide legislation differs, right? There are, generally speaking, very few countries have the same tax applications that any other company has. Even within the European Union, it's different. Certainly, it's different within the 50 states, right? So what we have to do, right, is understand where is the best place to register a company. So for argument's sake, Buds, which is the marijuana distribution company, will be registered in Spain. It'll be an SL company, right? Because it's going to be produced in Spain, because that's the cheapest, most convenient way to produce it. Now, I would marry that very quickly to the Green Exchange, which is a solar panel company that's going to be agencyed out through the primary electricity supplier in Spain, and then sold on agency basis to various different people who are required to buy energy and electricity in order to reduce their costs in their country of home. These are all pretty complicated areas, right? These are all pretty complicated deals to do, right? But the beauty of them is, right, they can be done. And when they're done, right, the return on investment is just massive. It's just massive. But they have to be, as we spoke about earlier, innovative, available, and possible to do. Every one of our projects today meets that criteria.
Awesome. Appreciate the clarification there. All right, sounds good. Now, when would that pre-sale on cookie sale, when is that going to happen?
So we're still kind of holding off. We're waiting for some bit more information coming out of the Fed, as I'm sure everyone's aware of. But it's looking like 2.5 to 3 weeks, somewhere between the 2 and 3 week mark. So that's why we've got the bigger and better AMAs like yourself towards the end. So we're just kind of ramping up to that point. So we will obviously keep you fully aware of what's going on and let you know. And we're giving away some whitelist spots as well for you guys this evening, or this afternoon. So yeah, it's going to be soon.
Now the seed round has a 2-year cliff with 10 months linear, like you said. What about the pre-sale on the cookie sale? Is there any
no vesting? No, none at all.
No vesting at all?
Nope.
Perfect. That's great to know. All right. Now,
there's two, two things I haven't mentioned is one, there is a 3% sales tax. It goes 1%. 1% is for rewards. So it goes back to hodlers. 1% is for marketing and 1% is for, oh God, I always forget this. It's a 3% tax, and it's divvied up amongst the community, basically, of different areas. And there's also something we're launching. We've not put it on the website because we want it to be a bit of a showstopper. Is that we're doing a staking program as well around June. So we've got that coming out as well. So that's going to be quite exciting.
Okay, so it looks like 3% in, 3% out on the buy and sell, and 1%. Yep. It seems just going to be reflections back to the holders in proportion to your holding. Yes. How many tokens you hold, and on top of that, you guys are also working on the staking platform as well.
Yep.
Okay, sounds great. I mean, 3% and 3% now. That's not bad at all.
No, I think it helps hodlers and puts people off, just kind of day trading it, which the guys that we've been speaking quite regularly with, the guys at Cookie, Dre and Tyler, etc. And they were, they said it looks a really good thing for people actually vested into the project. So yeah, we agree.
Yeah, I think 3% in, 3% out. I think that's probably what I would do as well. It's not a lot where prevent traders, right? Because a lot of these projects out there, they're missing the point that they want to do a lot of high tax. And what happened is that to prevent the chart, but there's no trader. You want your chart to be active, right? So 3% in, 3% out, it incentivizes people to buy in because you earn the rewards, but it doesn't prevent traders to come in and move the chart as well. You want your project to be active. And so I think that's a very good percent there to be at.
Thank you. I'll let the Cookie guys take the credit for that one. It was their idea.
Awesome. All right. So now just to recap, guys. So what Solalgo is doing is that they're going to acquire companies, and whether that's existing company. Now, Barry and Derek, now you guys are not limited to just traditional companies only, right? I mean, you guys are doing both crypto and in the real world, right?
Oh yeah. We look at
if it makes sense and it's relatively inexpensive from the point of view of return. Well, yeah, I don't care what it is. I'm sure Barry doesn't either. If we can make sense of it and make it work and have the right people involved in it, then I don't care what it is, right? As long as it meets that criteria.
I can't divulge much information now because I'm currently under it, or we're currently under NDA. We're actually talking to a crypto business as we speak for acquisition. And the nice thing about it is it's a really, really funky project. I wish I could say more, but yeah, we'll look at anything. We really will.
It's also the first crypto business that actually passed muster in the algorithm.
That is true as well. That is true. It did.
It was just back in it, it says "buy me" in big capital letters. It shocked me because I was expecting any crypto business to have caveats attached to it. This one didn't.
And the nice thing about it is it wouldn't cost us any fiat, any cash. We wouldn't have to sell any coin. They would be willing to take tokens in exchange for the business because they're very excited about Solalgo and where it's going. And again, it would be vested into the public sale. And it's a nice deal if we can get it over the line, which I think we will.
Okay. Now, I looked at your tokenomics, but I don't have the chart in front of me now. What is the % of your total supply that's being allocated for the acquisitions?
Very good question. I think it was it 10%? I'd have to check. I think it was 10%. I can have a quick look actually. I've got my white paper up here. 1 second.
Let me pull it up really quick as well here. Okay, so it looks like I pulled it up here. So it looks like 25%.
25%. There you go.
Of $1 billion, right?
Yes, 25% of $1 billion. That's correct.
Okay, so just to kind of like recap what Barry just said there. So the company is pretty much offering tokens to take over the company, right? You guys, no fiat, nothing, no cash, just Algo token. That's what you guys are offering when you guys acquire these company or funding these startup companies, correct?
No, it can be fiat as well.
Fiat as well. It can be
most of the, like if you get like the pet company like Vetcura, we bought that a while ago, and Solalgo wasn't even a thing, so we had to use fiat for that. Now, obviously, that things will get a lot easier in the future when Solalgo is trading on Binance or Bitfinex or wherever, OKX at 30, 50, $1, whatever. It makes it easier for us to swap tokens for businesses when it's listed and trading with a decent amount of market cap. But at the moment, obviously, us without being listed, we're using fiat.
The businesses also require fiat for operation, right? And equally, for argument's sake, I'll give you an example here. We have buds ready to use, all developed and all of that. Buds is the marijuana. The Green Exchange requires us, right, over 10 different locations in southern Spain, right, to implement an acre's worth of solar panels. The cost of an acre's worth of solar panels, fully finished, is $447,000. It's not cheap. And the people who make solar panels are not interested in taking cryptocurrency. That has to be funded with fiat. Right? However, what we've done, right, is we have associated the Green Exchange with Buds, even though they're two separate companies, right? And they're two separate individuals operating them, and their staff are all separate. They're associated with them because we're going to be able to situate the solar panels on the same lands that we're controlling the aquaponic production of marijuana. So we're basically bringing this together. But like the guy who works in the aquaponics is not going to take crypto every week for his wages, right? He's just not. So there has to be a finely made balance in how we deal with the crypto and how we deal with fiat. And in order to transition between the fiat situation and the crypto situation, as Barry said, that's a question of proving it. Now, we were prepared to put our money where our mouth is and buy these projects ourselves, right? We paid money for them, cash for them, right? And we own them, right? And when it comes down to it, the instrument of purchase is still fiat, and you're not going to get away from that. And to a large extent, that's the way it'll remain until change slowly comes into the market and people feel it's easier and better. And we've seen the way Bitcoin can be used to buy things, but now people are a little bit more edgy about it. And that's a volatility of a market that hasn't settled down yet. But when it settles down, then the difference will take place. It's like buying shares, using shares to buy another business. It's swap the shares, transfer the shares. That doesn't happen in the first year of any business. That happens when the business has established a value to those shares. And that's what we're doing with crypto.
Yeah, I mean, right now you guys raised $4 million of fiat right now, so that's quite a bit of money. But I think as the time goes on, I mean, I can't predict how many projects you're going to be acquiring or funding, but I'm pretty sure that you'll be mindful where you don't sell a lot in the open market where it can affect the investor or the chart for sure. So that's something that I think you guys are mindful as well, because in acquiring any kind of project with Fiat, you're going to have the money has to come somewhere, right? Most projects out there, they will sell the tokens to get the Fiat, to get the USD or whatever USTD to fund the project, and sometimes that can affect the investor in the beginning. But I think as the project grow, as the project mature, like you said, and I think once the market cap gets a bit higher, then I think that should not be an issue.
Take this scenario, Seattle. Let's say we get a business in a year's time, and it's going to cost us 10 million. Just take this scenario. Let's say Solalgo's trading at 70 cents, just for argument's sake. Okay? So in reality, in real terms, we're going to have to issue 14 million coin in order to buy this business. I put it to you very clearly. For years, many years, right? I've had investors in traditional shares place the money in traditional shares in agreement not to sell the shares until such and such a period. Cryptocurrency is no different. If we have a 10 million pound project, I'm sure Barry and I would be able to, between us, find a 10 million pound placement take a placement of the coin and vest it. I don't see that being a problem, right? Because if we're successful, it's a great investment for them. It's an incredible investment for them. And that's the key to this. Don't make promises you can't keep. And if we then place that money and they give us the money and we make this work, because they've looked at all the work we've done prior to acquisition, then they have the coins and we have the business.
Perfect. Now, Derek, Barry, where's your main point of contact right now for projects to reach out to you guys?
On the website, we've got just a Google Docs form you can fill in. It's got a number of questions on there, qualifying questions. They will go on to Derek's team and fed into the algorithm. Well, get to the team first, and then if it qualifies, then go on to the algorithm. But obviously, Derek and I are on the Telegram group pretty much all the time. But I would say to fast track it, the form on our website is the best way to apply for being looked at as a potential target.
Now, do you guys have a team within your team that is intentionally going out there seeking for projects that be maybe, having what I don't know how to call hardship or issues? Or
that's what the algorithm does. That's what the algorithm does for us, Seattle. That's the great thing about it. It takes a lot of the donkey work out of what we do. Sorry, Derek.
Since we started these AMAs, I couldn't begin to tell you how many requests we have. I mean, the way it works is we have what's basically a reader, right, who reads everything that comes in every day, right? As I said, a lot of it can be very, very poor, right, and that's dismissed fairly quickly. But what it's done is it's put into a refer to bin. The ones that he reads, and he's reasonably experienced, the ones that he reads are then sent on to me. My team it's dissected and sent on to my team. Here's the answers that qualify for your expertise. Here's the answers that qualify for your expertise. At that stage, we're in a position now to really look at these businesses. But to be honest with you, finding the businesses or finding applications is not difficult. That's really, really easy. Everybody has a great idea, or there's plenty of businesses that wouldn't mind my management team getting behind them, particularly if they're going to get funded as well. There's plenty of that there. It's a question of us being very, very choosy, very picky in what we go with. So we do the work, and the work takes a lot of time. So when it takes a lot of time, it costs a little bit of money. So we have to be very careful. What's reduced the cost enormously is the algorithm. I mean, it's stunningly enormously. We could have lost the department. When I was working on the market, we could have lost a whole department if we had had that algorithm. And that department would have had 20, 30 people in it. We could have lost the whole department if we had that algorithm. It's great.
Could you, not without giving too much information on here, but could you give us like the rough amount of how much it cost you guys and how long it took you guys to build out this algorithm?
Sorry.
Really tough one to answer,
All the techies, I didn't.
Yeah, I would say we're probably in for with all the technology, with all the hardware, we're probably in for $300,000 to $400,000 roughly, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I would say it's around that number. I'd have to look at the numbers. That would be a finger in the air. It's not something we've ever dissected actually.
That's for the search and rank. That's for the search and rank tool. The qualification tool, which is the one that makes up the business plan, sets the budgets, researches the market for human resources. That's a different tool, but it's also integrated. It's all algorithms, but they're different processes. It doesn't all happen in the one process. We ask the algorithm particular questions in each of the processes, but it happens real quick. And we can find out, for argument's sake, if we wanted a guy that could fix widgets tomorrow, we can look at the market for widget fixers, and it's back to me in 20 seconds. It's just brilliant. And then it's a question of identifying and separating.
And this algorithm here, Derek, and I mean, as you stated, it has a proprietary design. This now, is this something that you guys had applied for? Is it a patent pending? Anything in regards to that?
I don't know the answer to that. Our legal team handle that. I simply just don't know the answer. What I do know is they've assured me that I can use it, but I can't publish something to do with the back end. This is not my area. But the legal team have assured us that it's completely, we own it entirely, right? When we first used it, we bought off the shelf stuff for it, but we've dismissed that and we've written our own stuff since. The problem they've got is every so often I go back to the techies and say, look, it's not doing this. I need it to do this. And then Barry goes, do you know how much that's going to cost? And then we get it done.
Well, I'll tell you what, like you guys said, put money where your mouth is, and you guys have put in $750,000, right? And you guys sitting here, Doxxed, in front of our community. That shows a lot of confidence in you and the commitment that you have for the project. And along with all the seed investors that you guys raised the money from with a 2-year cliff, I mean, that is a lot of commitment to the project. So you guys are a very serious project. You have something very unique. And I look forward to see the development 3.5 years from now, roughly, to see you guys on an exchange.
You'll see us on the stock exchange in 3.5 years. You'll see the development of Solalgo within the next 3 months, and it'll be an open. We're completely transparent in our publication of information. If you have a question, and we'll be doing AMAs way after the launch. If you have a question, come online and ask us. If I don't know the answer, I'll say I don't know. I have a clue. All right. If I do know the answer, you'll get it straight between the eyes.
Perfect, Derek. So with that said, I think we have covered everything. Is there anything that you guys want to speak on before we take some questions from the community?
There were some fantastic questions. Very insightful. It's great. It's great for her to have actually someone, hosting the event that's actually gone through our white paper, which isn't most of the time they're just reading questions that they ask every AMA. So yeah, well done, Seattle. You've done a great job.
Well, I appreciate that, Barry and Derek. And I came from business background as well. So I definitely see the vision, see what you guys, your mission, and the commitment that you have, right? I mean, it doesn't take much to put one-on-one together. You guys have put out $750K. That shows a lot of commitment, right? That's a lot of money. With a 3.something million raised as well. That speaks a lot. But that's a testament to the people that believe in you, but also your leadership and your background and experience as well. So with that said, guys, I appreciate it, Barry and Derek, but Mike's going to come on and he's going to take some questions from the community.
All right. Thanks, Seattle. Thank you, Barry, as well. And Derek, very well presented today.
Hey, Mike.
Hey. Before I take any of the questions from the community, text questions, I always like to ask if anybody wants to unmute yourself. We don't mute anybody. Go ahead and feel free to do and ask your questions as long as I go. But I'm going to start off with Roy Rivers as a text question. His first question is, later down the road, maybe a project of your choice experiences problems in the middle of their development or, even launch. What is, your responsibility now then? And what type of help could they maybe even seek out for themselves?
think the reality of that question is that's a crypto question. With regard to the operational business, the core business of Solalgo, right? We're in a very flexible position. Right? We can make decisions to stop expanding. We can make decisions to accelerate expanding. We can work with the market. We can project as much as anybody can project how the markets are going to go. But we're not affected by the markets. We're affected by the ability of our people to produce profits over set periods within set budgets. So unlike the vagaries and the volatility of the crypto market, from my side of the business, I'm not affected by that. Barry will argue that if the coin is affected, we're affected by just the market deciding that it doesn't like any crypto coin, so everything's going down. I agree with Barry. It is affected, but we still have the core businesses. We still have the assets. We still have the income. We still have the generation of turnover. So we still all have that in place. I'm sure Barry will answer your question with regard to the crypto market, but from my point of view, we hedge against that by buying well, budgeting correctly, and managing very securely and closely.
I would just add a little bit onto Derek's comment that I would like to think that Solalgo as a project, I wouldn't say it's completely detached from the rest of the crypto market. Obviously, the big brother in Bitcoin's always going to affect every price, from Ethereum right down to any old shitcoin. But when you're backed with tangible assets that in 6-12 months time are reporting, healthy profits, the burn cycle's very, very strong. The issued amount is going down by quite a substantial rate on a regular basis. Things look a lot rosier. Now, of course, it's going to be affected by the market. Of course, we are a crypto business at the core, but you'd like to think that we've got some, shall we say, waterproof clothing on from any shower that the market may take.
Great answer. Appreciate it. It does, and I hope that answers your question there, Roy Rivers, as well. Appreciate that. He does have a second question here. Is how compatible would the algorithm be in terms of standing high traffic? Say you have 100,000 users using this all at the same time. Would there be any sort of slowdown traffic or anything like that? This is not Chat GPT, right? So it's not something that you just loads of people just piling on at the same time. This is a black box piece of AI technology that sits in an office and is utilized by the team, and only has access. No one else gets access. So, this is not.
Even Barry at this moment does not have access to this. Only my team has, because of the security nature of what the algorithm comprises and the information that's coming out of it, right? Barry gets it after the first process. Then he has complete access and makes the decision for us from the point of view of money and crypto. But when we're doing something, we respect people's privacy entirely. So it stays within my team and my team only.
Well said. All right. Appreciate that. Understood. Let's see. Next question. Let me just scroll up here for a second, guys. Hold on. Yeah, quite a few here. A lot of these were already answered. It was a very well articulated AMA. I'm not going to lie. All right. So this one's coming from Shizu. I hope I said that right. How has Solalgo adapted to its investment approach to respond to the changes in the market? Whether it's up, whether it's down. How is it you guys follow these trends? Is it all on your market there, Derek?
Well, we won't be buying Credit Suisse anytime soon. That's for sure. Or any Swiss bank, to be honest. So that obviously that might make sense, but. Look, the way the algorithm works, and Derek can go into more. I think we've gone into enough detail about the algorithm, but the way it works is it understands. It's smart. It's self-learning. It understands what's going on in the marketplace because it's such a deep search, and it knows it can see the banking stocks going down, so it knows where to look and where not to look. Look, it might say, "Oh, there's a really cheap bank that we can buy." Go and buy.
It won't say that.
No, it won't. I'm sorry, Derek. It won't. But you know what I mean.
ironically, a bad market is good for us when we go to it's bad for us when we go to try and trade, but it's good for us when we go to buy. So when you're making an evaluated decision on anything, right, as whoever asked this question, it's a terrific question because you can't hedge against the future with any degree of certainty. What you can do is you can hedge against the future with knowledge, right? And that knowledge is based on an awful lot of hard work. The algorithm is a wonderful tool, but that's all it is. It's a tool. It's a tool that allows us to make decisions quicker and better, but it's still just a tool. The markets will do what the markets do. At the end of the day, if we own 50 hectares of land in southern Spain, if we own, 1 million baskets of pet care product, if we own 500,000 solar panels, we own them. We own them in their entirety. So the market might drive down the price of them, but it won't kill them. And then the market will go again. As we know, markets bounce. And this is no longer a 7-year cyclical market. Crypto is a 7-minute cyclical market at times, So we're very confident that by having the tangible assets, we are hedging against the market moving.
Appreciate that. Was a great answer there, right there. 100%. All right, next question is rolling in from Jaden about the USA, regulations, as most of us here are coming into. How will this work with the USA crypto regulations? As a USA bank with a license to distribute fiat, what's the person going to have to go through to show their statements of earnings for the people to claim their capital gains off of this?
Wow. Have we got a week? The US is like any other tax jurisdiction, right? It has its rules and regulations. As we know, the IRS tend to change them once a quarter, right? And every so often they change them entirely, right? And again, it depends on the budgetary situation in the US at the moment, who's in power, right? And what the Fed is going to do tomorrow. I'll tell you, if you can tell me what the Fed is going to do tomorrow, I'm buying. I'm buying drinks for all of us, if you can tell. With regard to taxation only applies on sale and only applies on sale with profit. Okay? It doesn't apply if you make a loss. It doesn't apply, well, it does apply because you can claim against the loss, but it's a strict, straightforward scenario, and it's an equation that's very simple. You know what your state dictates within the United States. In some cases, you know what your county dictates within the United States. The reality is that we can't be responsible for any of the taxation issues of you buying and selling. We would like to create a situation that allows the least amount of tax paid on any given asset, right? We, for argument's sake, will be registering all of the companies in various different jurisdictions that are most favorable from a taxation point of view to the generation of dividends, the generation of profits, and the generation of turnover. We will be doing that. But with regard to the crypto market, you buy and then you sell, you pay tax on the profit.
Or just sorry, caveating that quickly, if you are a hodler and you go right the way through until you become a shareholder in the publicly traded business, you've not sold anything. You just transferred it into shares. So
that's tax exempt. If you swap a coin for a share or whatever the pro rata basis is, and when we do actually take it to the market, I should say, Mike, that in answer to that question, from day one of the development of Solalgo, we have been profiling it for a listing, right? A listing either on London or New York. Primarily, we are adhering to the rules and regulations of the London Stock Exchange because I know them intimately. But they pretty much apply to New York as well. There are vagaries and variances, but they're nothing major. When we reach the point of a 70% burn and we take it to a listing, right, we will be offering everybody a straight swap, right, based on valuation. If the coin's trading at $5 and the shares are $2.50, they get 2 shares for every coin, right? That's the way we will do it. The valuation of the business itself will be based on the product value of the business within the conglomerate. right? And obviously the goodwill and whatever the market peers want to put the value on it as they always do. With regards to the other option that's available to people, we will be offering a straight purchase on the coin based on current market rates, and that's at the buy and sell rate. It's a middle market fixture.
Amazing. Appreciate that, Barry and Derek, of that detailed breakdown answer there, 100%. Next question is, I don't think we covered this at all, but if any, can you speak on any partnerships you currently have and maybe a partnership that you're looking to onboard? What is the process if anybody does want to partner with you? What do you look for?
It's a very wide partnership in what? Is it, one of the businesses that we buy? Is it the partnership in marketing for our token via the Presale? It's a tough one to answer. Is there any more specifics there, Mike, that we could maybe drill down on, because it's a very wide ranging question?
Well, I can answer this is Barry. We have no plans in place to partner with anybody on any of the businesses. We will own the business 100% entirely. There is no plan in place to partner with anybody on the business from the point of view of ownership. From the point of view of agency, that's different. Right? We will be working with lots of big people on agencies.
We've had obviously approaches on AMAs where people have tried to reach out and saying, "Oh, can we shield bot your token and this, that, and the other?" If it's a partnership in that way, which obviously we'll look at anything when it comes to assisting Solalgo moving forward. If you want to get in contact with myself or Derek, just please DM us on our on the Solalgo channel or DM directly or whatever. We're more than happy to discuss that offline. So fine.
Mike, one last thing. Sorry, Mike, can you hear me?
Okay, Derek, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, one last thing. One of the parts of developing Solalgo to the point that we've developed it to is we are subject to quite a few non-disclosure agreements with regard to what we've done, where we're doing it, and how we're doing it. These are based on legal licensing reasons, right? There is nothing nefarious about them. It's just standard business practice. I'm talking, for argument's sake, today, I spent a lot of today talking to a VFX people, right, about purchasing an agency for the development of a VFX company in India, right? But that's subject to a very serious NDA, right? And I can't speak about it other than to tell you what I've just told you. When Barry mentioned the crypto project earlier, it's the same thing. These are copper nails. These are really bulletproof NDAs. And sometimes we issue them and sometimes they're issued to us. But in building a conglomerate, we're going to be restricted prior to the final purchase. But as soon as the thing is purchased, as soon as the acquisition is made, we will publish whole details. It'll be effectively called an ALGO S101 summary. And within that is every detail of what's happened since the day we were first approached on that to the point that it's published.
Perfect. Understood. No secrets early told.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next one is coming in from Rayhan here. This is probably going to be a little directed at you, Derek, here. What specific types of expertise and skills are required to be on part of your analytics and negotiation team?
Okay, well, I'll run through some of the people. John is corporate governance and legal, right? So he has developed, he's a fairly, he would be one of the foremost experts in European law, right? In governance, he's pretty good in the States, he's pretty good in South America, a little bit sketchy in Africa, right? But he's generally speaking, he's good. And what he doesn't know, he knows people who do. Right, on the logistics side, I've got two people working for me, one of whom is based in South Africa, right? And I've known this person for 25 years. And they are so anal in what they do, it's frightening, right? Every detail would really bore you to tears. So I have to do, as Barry will tell you, I have to do calls with her 10 times a month. It's better than a sleeping pill listening to these logistic arguments. And then we've got accounting and legal, right? One of the legal people that we use is based in London, right? Associate to probably the second biggest firm in the UK. He doesn't work for them, he's an associate to them. He's an associate consultant on corporate and financial law. And the accountancy guy, right? The accountancy guy has been a friend of mine forever. He's really great, right? And he has an eye and he has a nose for when something's wrong. He's one of those guys that can look at a balance sheet and go, hey, that's wrong. And I mean, instantly he can do it. And so when he's looking at some sort of a complex set of projections over a period of time, he's the guy I give it to. When we don't need somebody that good, we use other people that are cheaper. All of these people are under contingency agreements with us and consultancy agreements in some case.
Perfect. That makes sense. You said how many is on your team right now currently, Derek? And you said they are, very close and vetted very vigorously.
On the analytics team, we have me, Carol, and we have 5 on the analytics team that are directly working pretty much every week on it. But each one of them have 10 people, 15 people that they refer to. So say, for argument's sake, we get a job in and it comes with a piece of analytics that we need advice on. Then we go to that contact and we pay them $250 for their advice or $500 for their advice, depending on what the advice is and how much we need. But you can't be an expert in everything. And the best way to manage is to delegate properly. And I know the people that work directly for me, and they know how to delegate properly. They won't waste the company's money, but they won't make mistakes like that either.
Well said, Derek. It is not a dime a dozen type deal when looking for these type of people. Yeah, you have to do vigorous background checks and all that such, and really look deep into these people that you want to bring in. So I agree 100%. Which kind of rolls me right into Rayhan's second question here. Between you, Barry, and the whole team, what has been the biggest obstacle over since you started this project to date that you guys have had to overcome?
You, Barry, I've had no obstacles. It's all you.
No, it's probably getting money out of me is the obstacle. The biggest obstacle, I think that generally the market has been, like I said earlier, we were ready in May, June of last year. And when the whole market took an absolute dump, the world was falling down. SBF was was Satan, and well, it still is. FTX had, was causing, cataclysmic, situation. Look, it was a bad point for crypto, but one that I think we've come out of the other side a lot healthier, having shed a lot of the bad actors out of the space, which is great. So I would say, as far as that's concerned, definitely, the market has been testing, should we say.
I'd say a strange obstacle we faced, Mike, was getting people to understand how you could marry traditional with crypto and how to understand how that we were going to be actually using the funds raised through crypto to buy tangible assets and what those tangible assets would mean. And then convincing them that we had the expertise, right, and the network of expertise in order to ensure that these were safe. Now, the problem with crypto people is the minute they hear safe, they think, oh, God, I won't get paid for 72 years. That's actually not the case, right? The case is we believe, we from my limited knowledge of the crypto market, and it is limited compared to my knowledge of it, right? I'm pretty sure that we will have day traders who are making money out of this the same way as people on the stock exchange. I'm pretty sure they will, but it's a bad sale because ultimately, if you really want to make money out of this, take the plunge, go for it, right? Because if we get it right in 3 years' time, what Barry asks for is thousands and thousands of times return on your investment and all that trade, right? That'll happen, right? Because the markets can only go against us if we have a world collapse, and that's not going to happen.
Well said. Well said. As we know, crypto as a whole, if you zoom out, it is still so early. All of us are still so early. So I'm definitely agree, 100%.
Can I ask my question?
Spider-Man, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to know, most investors hold people token for project owner token for a long time without understanding a long-term value. So what assurance or guarantee do you have for these investors so that they can hold this token for a long time and benefit from it? And is there going to be a benefit for those holding your token for a long time? Maybe there will be a benefit for them after holding the token, going to get the reward for holding the token for a long time.
Yeah, 100%. Look, as far as you say, guarantees, there are no guarantees in this market. I'm sure you are fully aware of that. But what we can do to holders of Solalgo token is this: there's a 1% reward that will come out of the 3% sales tax. So that's one way of looking at a way of getting something back from Solalgo. And I alluded to a little bit earlier, there's a staking program where I can't release details of it yet, but in around June, we'll release that staking program for long-term hodlers. It'll be a nice return again on sticking around with Solalgo. But as far as guarantees go, who can make a guarantee in any market, let alone the crypto market?
What I would say, Spider-Man, is this, right?
Okay.
I've been dealing with shareholders and investors for a long time. I'm very aware, right, that you cannot, under any circumstance, not be aware that they exist and not be aware that they took the risk and they deserve the benefit, just as much as I do for the work I do or Barry does for the work he does. So it's not going to be a question that Solalgo will ever forget about its shareholder or its coin holders, right? It won't, right? We will keep you informed. We will take your questions. If benefits arise, we will offer them to you. It's in our interest to offer them to you, right? It's really in our interest to continue to keep our coin holders satisfied, because in the long term, right, that's who funds quite a bit of the business. And that's very important to me. And me and Barry are custodians of your money. We should respect that and respect that it didn't come to you easy, right? So therefore, we shouldn't treat it that
Okay. And also because this second question I would like to ask, usually ask almost all the project owners. So I would like to ask, is this project going to be a pump and dump project? Because I've come across so many pump and dump project, man, and it's so awful. That's why I like asking a lot of project owners this question.
Spider-Man, have you been listening to the last hour and 45 minutes? It'll be the worst. It'll be the worst value pump and dump for me and Derek. We're the ones going to get pumped on. If anything. So no, I can assure you, we've vested until we go public. That we're not going anywhere. So no, this is not a pump and dump plan, and I'm hoping that the last hour and 45 minutes has shown you that this is not the case.
I said it earlier in the call, Spider-Man, and here I'll say it again. Right? It's a perfectly legitimate question, right? Because of the market that we're in. Right? But please do not demean the concept of blockchain technology and the crypto market. Don't do that. Right? Don't look upon it as places where people can commit fraud. Ultimately, this will be the market that everybody deals in, the same way they do in the stock market, right? Because crypto's not going anywhere. And it needs people to stabilize the boat and say, no, we're not sinking. We're going to make this work. And not only are we going to make it work, we're going to make a nice living out of it. We're going to make a nice bunch of money out of it. But we also have to be aware that crypto is funded by people like you. It's not funded by people like me who buy assets, right? It's funded by people who come in for $100 or $500,000. That's who funds it. And crypto needs to learn the lesson. You're important. And you can't be messed with. Okay? My job is to make you a profit. I undertake today, right in front of you, I'll make you a profit. Might take a year, take 2 years, might take 3 years, but I'll make you profit.
Okay. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, I'd like to ask also one more question. You know, we all know that there's already a bear market coming now. So I want to know maybe if there's a bear market, a real bear market that's affecting your project. So what are you going to do to make the project not fall down? To make the project stand still? It's not going to be a project that bear market is going to affect.
The average range for the development of each of the projects that we buy, right, each of the businesses that we buy and the companies that we form is anywhere between 3 and 12 months, depending upon the project, depending on the mechanics of it and the machinations that are necessary in order to ensure its development to success. The market may be a bear market. I'm not sure I wholly agree with you on that. I think everybody's a bit frightened because a couple of the big institutional banks took a kick in the bollocks in the last few weeks, right? I understand that. But markets are cyclical, markets bounce, and money's there to protect markets. And as you saw with Credit Suisse, the money came in to protect it. And even if it didn't work today, it'll work tomorrow. The situation with regard to us, we don't have to hedge. A bear market's actually good for our acquisitions. It's really good for our acquisitions. So effectively, if you're right and there's a bear market for the next 6 months, we're going to buy like there's no tomorrow at the lowest possible prices. And then effectively have it developed at the end of that period to be able to produce profits at hopefully a rising market and rising prices and rising profits. So that's the answer to your question. I'm not worried about it. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been through more recessions and more falling markets than you could shake a stick at. You don't let that affect you. You go with what you believe and you stay with it. And you fight to the very end to ensure that it's successful. Because if
Spider-Man, Derek's that old. He was around for the Great Depression. So, you know, he knows he's been there and done it.
I would ask Mike if I could swear, but I probably can't, so I won't, okay? But I am Irish and I do swear.
Hey, this is USA. No problem. No issues.
Yes.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Thank you for the questions.
Great.
Cheers, Spider-Man. Say hello to MJ for me.
Appreciate the questions there, Spider-Man, 100%. Appreciate the answers there, Barry and Derek. Switching over to Twitter, we do have a good question over here. This is from Juan. Currently, most projects and platforms are in English. So how will Solalgo reach out to the non-English communities? And do you have any sort of ways to translate on the website, white paper, etc., or reaching out to the non-English speaking communities?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. You know, one thing that
I've been asking for years.
I know, Derek. I know. We to be honest, it was a bit of an error on our behalf. We took our after ball because we highlighted a number of everything from Spanish, Italian, French, German, Portuguese, you know, Russian, Finnish, Swedish, etc. We've been through a myriad of different ideas about what languages, and I think it was 14 we've come up with, and we'd started the project of getting it done, and we are going to finish it off. So I'm hoping within 3 months you'll start seeing the drop down for languages on the Solalgo website, plus all of the websites for all of the acquired businesses will be multilingual because they have to be, because obviously a lot of them are retail projects. But definitely with Solalgo, there's something we want to do and get the white paper and the pitch deck done in languages as well.
In fairness to Barry, and I know I give him a hard time, and I hope we're recording this because he said 3 months, right? But in fairness to Barry,
it's 3 years.
One of the biggest problems we had was that some of the translations, given the nuance of what we were doing, were pretty appalling. I took one, right? It was actually Russian. Actually, I took it to a friend of mine. I says, "Read this and tell me what it says." And they said, "It's gobbledygook," right? And the reality is that it was. So I said to Barry, "Pull that." He was using some guy. I don't know where the guy was. Some firm somewhere. I said, "Pull that. We have to get this right. So we have to there has to be a two-pronged approach to this. One is you get the technical up, and then we get a team to read everything the technical are doing. right? Because some of the businesses that we're going to be involved in, we don't want to get sued. We don't want to make statements that we can't stand over, right? So this is kind of important that we get this right. But you're right. It's his fault, not mine. The fellow above me here, Harry, it's his fault.
Hans, it is my fault. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, no worries. Yes. One of the things I don't know if you guys are aware of, you might be, at least with the Telegram side, as we all know, crypto is pretty vast on Telegram as a whole. One of the most recent updates that they had is if you have a premium account, you can now translate full groups and also individual DMs into any language you want.
On the fly? What, it does it live, does it?
On the fly. As long as you have premium.
Wow.
And it's helped me all of us tremendously. I'm not going to lie. It really has.
I'm signing up. I know we've got a blue tick on our Twitter page now, and before obviously you need to have like a gazillion followers, but now you just got to pay $9 and it's great. So I'm sure the premium won't be that much money on Telegram. So I'll be signing up onto that first thing in the morning.
100%. I would say, Mike, that we have on our staff, directly on our staff, we have fluent Spanish speakers, fluent Russian speakers, and a fluent French speaker. So I would say that we have that. And while that's no good to anybody looking online, it does help us.
100%. Yeah, I understand that. And it is, exactly. I think for a whole 1 year, and don't quote me, I know it's right around this price anyways, it's like $30-$35 for premium on Telegram for the whole year. It's very cheap. So to get,
I'm getting that.
100%. And this has only come out within the last few months, I'd say. So it's been a good game changer for Telegram as a whole. Mind you, there's still a lot of issues with VC and Telegram in general, but that was an amazing update. I did like. Next question is
Harry, give them $10 and be prepared to go to 20.
Negotiate.
Yeah.
One of the questions, guys, here coming in from back to Telegram now is Cali Girl is you guys said you put in $750K roughly for you guys personally. How does the company going to pay you guys back, or did you guys get an allocation of tokens already?
I think it was 5. I think we're on 5%. Let's have a. I looked. I did see. I think it was 5%. Yeah, so as our selection is 5%, but we're vested, as I say, Derek and I are part of the seed, so we're vested for 2 years with a 10-month linear release after 2 years. But we Derek and I are quite lucky. We've got some wealth that we don't take a salary. We don't need to take a salary, and we're in this for the long haul. So yeah,
we will be taking a salary though. We will be taking a salary. As soon as this works out that we're working all the hours God gave us and we have to travel, we can pay ourselves all our expenses. But there will be a point when we will take a salary. Yes, we will be paid for the work that we do. It won't be an outrageous salary. It'll be standard chief executive salary or chief financial officer or chief operational officer salary. But we will take a salary, yes.
Understandable. Appreciate that. Last question I'm going to take care from the community. And if there's anybody I did miss, please go on over to Solalgo's Telegram and ask any questions that I might have missed. The team here is very knowledgeable and ready to answer any of your questions, I'm sure. But the last one is coming in from Fisheye777 here, is how will the team be very transparent with every number when the team acquires a project so the community can kind of get a feel of what's going on in real time?
That is super. Sorry, Derek. I was just going to say, from a release point of it, it's so important for the value of the token that we release every possible iota of information to the community, to the wider public, to everyone that's interested. We're going to be getting it out there. So it only adds for a healthier community and a much healthier token, because it will just get people to buy it, which is great for everyone concerned. So we can't wait to have that constant flow, that kind of treadmill conveyor belt of really good information coming out about the businesses. Sorry, Derek.
The information flow is going to be centered around the standard traditional information flow from any company. Prior to the information flow from the company, we will be publishing the summary from the results how we bought it, and why we bought it, and what research was done into it. Now, it will be a summary. It won't be the elongated report. So it'll be 4 or 5 pages. I think the one of them is 5 pages. One of them is 4, and the other one, they were all around that sort of size. After that, they will comply with company law in the normal way. So we will publish quarterly returns. We will publish quarterly accounts. We will not publish monthly accounts on any of the companies, simply because it's time consuming and it's expensive. And so we will be publishing quarterly. So you'll be able to see how the company's doing. Obviously, as Barry said, in the event of any acquisition, in the event of the completion of any contract that's income producing for the company, we'll be making a big hullabaloo about that, believe me. But generally speaking, it's very, very difficult not to be transparent in this day and age. So you make the decision right from the get-go. We're going to be transparent. We'll just tell you, I'm hoping that 90% of the news is good, but it's not always going to be good. It's going to be sometimes we didn't get that contract, right? Or that fella dropped dead at the bus stop and he was meant to sign it on Thursday. And that's going to happen, right? But that's the way it is. But anything that happens within the company will publish. Because ultimately, with the internet being the way it is, it could be silly not to. So let's get ahead of the game and publish it before anybody can start to spread rumors.
100%, and I appreciate that good, transparent answer there, Barry and Derek. No, that is all the questions I'm going to take from the community. I appreciate you both answering all those questions.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Solo, do you have a question?
Yeah, sure.
Go for it, brother.
Okay, sure. So my question is this: can you tell us about the security system of your platform? And is your platform protect from hackers? And how do you manage how do you manage it when hacker wants to hack your platform?
Well, I think that refers to the crypto side of things, Barry, because with regard to the website and with regard to the each individual company's website, there's nothing to hack. So it's over to you.
Yeah, we're on the BSC chain. I'm pretty comfortable with what we've got in place. All of the Solalgo tokens are held on cold storage. After what happened and post FTX, all information was coming out about central exchanges not having liquidity to cover runs on withdrawals. We always keep our crypto off chain in cold storage. So yeah, I think that as far as hackability is concerned, our risk is definitely in the very low realms. So I'm pretty confident, Solo Mod, that we're in very good shape.
I know we spend a lot of money on it, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Mike. Looks like Mike got cut off there for a bit. And I appreciate everyone for the questions there. Barry, Derek, you articulated yourself very well presented your project. And just to recap, guys, the profits that the team will generate from the acquired companies, that would be used to also burn tokens. The goal is to burn 70% of the supply around 3.5 years. After that, the goal is to also go to public with the company. Am I correct there, Barry and Derek?
Yeah, remember, just quickly, just in case someone's come in late to it, because it's been quite a long AMA, which has been very enjoyable. But the burn's going to take place pretty much immediately. It's not as though we're going to wait until the end and then burn them. The burn's going to come, at regular intervals. So the increase in tokens is going to come again at regular intervals. So that's a good thing.
First burn will be in Q4 of this year.
Awesome. And the pre-sale cookies sell around 2 to 3 weeks, and there is no vesting. So if you guys look at the tokenomics, if you're not sure what cliff means, that means that it's pretty much a vesting. They cannot touch those tokens for, I believe, 2 years. That's what Barry said. So what that means is that if you look at the tokenomics present on the website there, there's going to be a majority of the tokens going to be locked up. So there's not going to be a lot of circulating supply going on at the launch. Not too much. All right, guys. Anything else you want to leave us with, Barry and Derek, before we do the giveaway? And I know that you guys have 3 whitelist spots for the giveaway, correct?
Absolutely. And I think we said 50. I think I was speaking to one of your young ladies on the, I think we said $50 of SLGO tokens to one of your users as well as a thank you for letting us speak for nearly 2 hours. Wow, that was a marathon, but it was fun. So yeah, so some whitelists and $50 as well.
Oh, I appreciate that. That went really quick. 2 hours already. Is that 2 hours already? Wow,
yeah.
It's been 2 hours already.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot to unpack. What is that, Derek? Go ahead.
Not a Mac had that longer battery, eh? My Mac has.
I'm not sure if you're paying attention in the main room there, Derek. They were doing that. What is that backslash that says Derek or McGregor, who wins?
Derek.
Connor already knows that. I kicked the living bejesus out of him. You know that. After he's broke his ankle, mind you. Me and Habib. I'll partner up with Habib and we'll take on Connor.
Oh, man, I would love to go to Dublin one day, just to check it out. You guys are a great team. Barry and Derek, I definitely see the working chemistry between you guys there.
Lovely to talk to you, Seattle. It's been a pleasure to do the same.
Yeah, thanks, Seattle. Thanks to Seattle. Thanks to Mike. You've been great hosts. And thanks to the group for having us on. And as I say, if you've got any other questions outstanding, come and see us on the Solalgo Telegram group or Twitter or website, etc. So yeah, fantastic. Thanks for your time, guys.
Yeah. So one thing that we'd like to do, Derek, is that we'd like to raise awareness to your Telegram room. Now, I have to warn you, we have 197 listeners right now. What we do is we post your Telegram room and we ask them to join. And Mike's going to come there and pick one $10 winner. But there's going to be a lot of stickers going on. Is that something that you want us to do? If not, that's okay.
Sorry, a lot of.
So we usually ask them to go over there.
So what do they got to do? Just drop the
stickers. Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, good. Why not? As I say, you've got $50 to give away. I don't know how you want to distribute it, whether it's $5, $10 and some whitelist. I'll leave that down to you guys. You know your community better.
Perfect. And we also have I think Mike's giving away another, I think $40 as well. So yeah. So guys, with that said, Johnny's going to drop their Telegram channel. Make sure you guys join it. Drop a USA sticker there and take part of take part in the project. The team had put in $750,000. They had raised over $3 million as well. They're doxed on the camera. So if anything, I'm not sure what else, that's a lot of confidence. So it's a lot of commitment to the project. And it looks like Derek is the mastermind of this algorithm along with Barry. And I look forward. You guys have a very clear strategic plan of how, where, and when you want to take the company to. I love that. I love the end goal of it, which is the public exchange in around 3.5 years. Amazing. Appreciate it again, Derek and Barry.
Thank you, Seattle. Been a pleasure.
Good night. God bless you. Good night.
Cheers, guys.
Good night. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, Mike.
Good night,
Thank you.
God bless you. See you.
All right. Well, that was a great AMA, guys. So, as always, we do have the wheel. Let me roll this up here. Okay, share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? You see that, Seattle?
Yeah. You're going to pick me, right, Mike? Finally, after maybe 2 years.
Did you comment on Twitter? Did you like and reshare? We'll have to see. All right, guys. I'm going to shuffle this up. As you always know, we have $20 to give away here on the wheel, as well as we're going to follow up with the best question. But actually, real quick before I spin to Seattle, do you want to? I think it's probably best if you follow up with a post for the whitelist winners, for the whitelist giveaway, rather. That way we ensure.
Yeah, so I think because there's only 3 whitelists, guy, and they're only raising 100 BNB hard cap. So I think this is actually going to be very sought after. So yeah, let's do a post, because I just don't want to give to anyone that doesn't want it, right? So we're gonna follow with a post and reply to the post if you want the whitelist. But we can certainly do that $50 of tokens giveaway on the spin. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. I think $50 on here, as well as the $20 cash giveaway, is perfect to do on here. Let's do the $50 cash giveaway first. That's a nice little bag right there. Who's it going to be? Maybe it's Seattle.
Let's go.
Whoop, whoop. By the way, we had 196 total participants tonight. Appreciate every one of you. Choco? Yeah, Choco Chip 22. Congratulations. Won yourself $50 of Solalgo tokens. Be sure to hit me on the DMs there, and I'll get it all situated. We're going to shuffle up one more time and grab our $20 wheel winner. I'm also going to pick the best question, as you guys know. Coming correct with those great questions, as you guys always do. Thank you. Alex Costa. Oh, it's been a while since you won. Congratulations. Won yourself $20, Alex. All right, guys. Well, that is it for everything that we're going to be giving away on the wheel today. Let me unshare my screen here. As always, I'm going to have everything posted and uploaded to YouTube and a copy over to the team ASAP. And we appreciate all 196 participants that rolled in tonight to Solalgo's AMA and USA Crypto Group. We love every one of you. Seattle, great hosting as always. You're the best, brother. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Woo, woo.
Woo,
Nice,
brother.
cool, man. Cool, nice hosting, Mike.
What's up, Spider?
Ida.